Her son called 911 because I locked my own gate. Yeah, you heard that right. I locked a 4-foot wooden gate on my own property, and somehow that turned into a police call, a neighborhood scandal, and eventually the kind of HOA war that makes you question humanity. By the time it was over, there were drones, bolt cutters, and a full-blown board meeting where the queen of the HOA finally fell off her throne. My name's Kirk Jordan. My wife Pam and I bought our little place in Cedar Crest Meadows because it backed onto a creek, quiet, green, peaceful. For 2 years, it was everything we wanted. Then the Wilsons moved in. Karen Wilson. And if you're imagining the exact person that name brings to mind, congratulations, you're right. Yoga pants, clipboard smile that could freeze glass. Within 6 months, she somehow became HOA president. Suddenly, mailboxes had to be beige. Christmas lights were seasonally limited, and garbage cans left out at 9:01 a.m. meant a fine. Her teenage son, Kyle, was her clone with acne and a dirt bike. He and his buddies discovered my side yard made a perfect shortcut to the trails by the creek. They'd rip through spraying mulch, scaring my dog. One afternoon, Buddy yelped and hid under the porch for an hour. That was it. I went across the street calm and polite and told Karen it needed to stop. She gave me that tight plastic grin. Boys will be boys, Kirk. They're just enjoying community resources. I said, my yard isn't a community resource. Her eyes went cold. It's been an open path for years, she said, then turned to her son and whispered, keep using it. He'll cave. So I built a gate. Simple cedar matched the fence, perfectly legal in every way. The first weekend it was up, the kids came roaring down the path and found it locked. I heard them shouting, rattling it, kicking it. I turned up my music. A few days later, I'm flipping burgers in the backyard when Kyle starts screaming into his phone. 10 minutes later, blue and red lights splash across the fence. 2 officers step out. Karen's already performing for the neighborhood. Officers, my son was using the public path to the creek, and this man illegally barricaded it. They're trapped. I walked over calm. Pam had her phone out recording Smart Woman. The older cop examines the gate size, reaches over, slides the bolt, and opens it. This, he says dryly, is how gates work. Kyle stares mouth open. The younger cop snorts. Karen goes red, then purple. She mutters something about public access and storms off. The older officer leans toward me. I've got a feeling this is just starting for you. He was right. A week later, I get a letter violation, unauthorized structure. Fine $50. My gate. 2 weeks after that, another grass too tall garbage can out late. $50, $50, $50. She was bleeding us by paper cuts. Pam, bless her, built a war room. Every notice, photo, timestamp, bylaws, printout pinned to a giant corkboard, our proof wall. And then the night inspections started. Flashlights cutting across our windows at 10 p.m. Karen and her crony Gary whispering on the sidewalk like wannabe spies. That's when Pam said, we need to see the pattern. We mapped everything, times, dates, the exact bylaws we actually complied with. It wasn't random, it was targeted harassment. Still, I tried to stay calm. I'm stubborn, but I'm not crazy. I just wanted peace. Then one night Pam froze in front of the monitor. Kirk, you need to see this. On the screen, hovering above our fence, was a drone camera aimed straight at our backyard. It stayed there 2 minutes before zipping off. I wanted to grab a bat, knock it out of the sky. Pam stopped me. That's what they want. If you touch it, you're the criminal. She was right. So instead, we documented everything. She used her DSLR, got crystal clear photos, even caught the FAA registration number. 3 nights in a row, we logged the flight's times, altitude, everything. Then we filed an FAA report and a police complaint and mailed copies to the HOA board. The drone vanished after that, but it wasn't over. A few weeks later, Pam was digging through public records and suddenly gasped. Kirk, I found it. I know why she wants the gate gone. She showed me her screen, a series of emails between Karen Wilson using her official HOA address and a company called Creekview Developments. They were planning a luxury eco-resort on the far side of the creek, and on their site plan, a red line labeled Pedestrian Access Corridor ran straight through our property, my side yard, the one with the gate. Karen had promised the developer access she didn't own in exchange for a community improvement fund she'd personally control and a finder's fee. She wasn't protecting neighborhood traditions. She was selling our land. We printed everything, added it to the proof wall. For the first time we had motive, and we kept quiet waiting for her next move. It came fast. A red notice: remove the unauthorized structure within 48 hours or face foreclosure. Deadline Saturday midnight. Forecast thunderstorms. Perfect. That night the storm hit like a monster. Wind, screaming rain slamming the house. We had every camera running the Ring the Corner cams and a new trail cam hidden in a birdhouse facing the gate. At 12:11 a.m., motion alert. 2 hooded figures creeping through the rain. Kyle and a friend. The friend was lookout. Kyle knelt by the gate pulling out bolt cutters. I didn't think. Pam, call 911. I said, running outside. The rain hit like needles. They didn't hear me until I was 10 feet away. Get away from my gate, I yelled. Kyle spun around. You can't own nature. Then he shoved me hard. I slipped on the wet grass and went down, head smacking the mud. Before I could move, sirens wailed. Pam's call had been quick. The same 2 cops jumped out of their cruiser. And then Karen appeared, bathrobe, flapping hair, wild, screaming, "He attacked my son. He set a trap." I was dizzy, covered in mud, surrounded by flashing lights, and for a second I actually thought, maybe I am the bad guy here. Maybe I've gone too far over a stupid gate. That moment right there, I almost gave up. But then Pam walked out onto the porch, soaked, calm, holding her tablet. "Officer," she said, voice steady, "you need to see this." She played the video from the birdhouse cam. Infrared footage. Kyle cutting the lock, me shouting him, shoving me. Crystal clear. Karen started screaming, "That's fake. It's edited." Pam swiped new video, different angle. Finley's upstairs camera across the street showing the same thing. Swipe again, third clip from another neighbor's phone, audio. Perfect, get away from my gate. Then the shove, the thud. 3 angles. 1 truth. The older cop just turned to me. "Mr. Jordan, do you want to press charges?" I looked straight at Karen. "Yes. Trespassing, criminal mischief, and assault." They took the boys in. Karen dragged her son home, eyes like knives. And I knew this wasn't over. The next morning Pam said, "She'll come harder now. So we go smarter." She had a plan. The noise rule: no sound over 55 decibels after 10 p.m. Every Tuesday and Thursday, Karen and Gary did their security patrol in his souped-up golf cart that roared like a blender full of rocks. We set the trap. Pam upstairs with her camera, me in the garage with a certified decibel meter, Finley across the street filming. At 10:17 p.m., the cart sputtered by needle hit 72 dB. We had them. The next day I filed the most formal complaint they'd ever seen, complete with notarized statement, time-stamped videos, and links sent to every HOA board member, not just Karen. 2 weeks later, she and Gary were officially fined for violating their own rule. $100 each, and more importantly, public humiliation. The neighborhood buzzed. Maybe the Queen wasn't untouchable after all. That's when we launched the petition, a special meeting vote of no confidence. We needed signatures from 10% of homeowners. We got 30 in 48 hours. The meeting was packed, 100 people jammed into the clubhouse. Karen tried to drown us in procedure, but I'd studied Robert's rules. Out of order, I told her again and again until she shut up. Then I took the floor. It started with a gate, I said, projecting a photo of the little cedar door on the screen. I read the bylaw proving it was legal. Then I showed the proof wall, the violation letters, the late-night inspections, the drone. Gasps from the crowd. And then came the final slide, the developer's map, red line cutting straight through my yard. The emails with Creek View. The finder's fee. The beautification fund. The room exploded. People shouting, standing, pointing. Karen tried to yell, "That's confidential," but it was too late. Everyone saw her for what she was, a bully who sold out her neighbors. I made 3 motions. Refund every fine against my family past. Censure Karen for abuse of power past. And the last one, the vote to remove her as president. The count 52-48. Just like that, the tyrant fell. I thought that would be the end. But a week later, another envelope showed up, this time from City Hall. Karen had filed an official complaint claiming my gate blocked public access. One last shot. The mediation was in a beige room that smelled like old coffee. The mediator, Ms. Albright, looked like she'd seen every petty dispute on earth. Karen arrived in a power suit, slamming a huge binder onto the table. She gave this polished speech about historic community pathways and public rights to natural resources. Honestly, she was good. Ms. Albright even nodded a few times. Then it was my turn. I didn't bother opening my folder. I just slid one document across the table, a copy of my certified property survey. Our lot extends to the creek bed. There is no easement. Then I reached into my bag, pulled out a small metal object, and set it down with a click. A gate latch. This, I said, is the complex technology that apparently confused Ms. Wilson's son so much he called 911. I slid it shut. Click. Opened it again. Clack. This, I said slowly, is how gates work. For the first time, the mediator smiled. She picked up the latch, felt the weight, clicked it once herself, then looked straight at Karen. A gate is not a wall, she said. A latch is not a public obstruction. Your complaint has no merit. Case dismissed. Karen didn't say a word. She gathered her binder and walked out, shoulders tight. That was the last time I ever saw her. A few weeks later, a for sale sign appeared on her lawn. People think the story ends there with the win. But I still walk out every evening and touch that gate. I oil the hinge, make sure the latch clicks smooth. Because it isn't just a piece of wood anymore, it's proof that standing your ground doesn't always mean yelling louder. Sometimes it just means documenting everything, staying calm, and waiting for the truth to speak for itself. The gate still clicks the same way it always did, click to close, clack to open, but now every time it does, it reminds me of one thing: power only works if you let people convince you they have it.